Hello. Hi. Hi, guys. Yay, you're here. I was trying to tag a few people, but that's really hard to do when I don't have my bestie here to do it for me because she's still in Facebook jail. Hello. So, I said last night that we might do a background, and I decided that I would go for it, even though, and I'm just going to tell you ahead of time, I'm not real experienced. Is it still doing it? It's still cutting out. Hi, Mary. Hi, Mom. Hi, Lena. I'm going to actually venture tonight to do a tile wall background behind our Kraken that we did last night. And I'm going to put a wooden floor with a tile background. But that's really jumping out of my comfort zone, so you guys get to do it with me. I really hope it turns out super fab. But we'll see. I think we'll make this like a picture on the wall. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm just winging this, really, honestly. So the stamp is from the What's Kraken stamp set. And we do not need the dies tonight because we're just going to color a background red on this guy, which I'm a little nervous about, but we're going to wing it. And, and we'll see how that goes. Why not, right? I mean, sometimes you just got to try new things. So my thought is that I'm going to tile it out in a kind of in a beige-ish color, and I'm going to put a few accent tiles in there with the purple on it, just to bring out the purple in our Kraken. So we're just going to do it. Yeah, I don't know about that, but we'll see. So to start out, I'm going to need to kind of line in what I want to do. And I'm going to use W00 for that because it's really light. Or actually, maybe I'm going to use W0 so I can really see what I'm doing. And I want this background to be pretty light because I don't want it to take away from our awesome orange guy here. So when I get into coloring the tile, we are going to pick up that W00 and use it. But I'm going to start out with W0. And then I'm going to go to 2 because we're going to need to get darker. 40, 1, and 40. I'm going to use the colorless blender probably a lot. And I think for my purple colors, I think I'm going to go back to what we used last night. So I'm going to do the BV13, BV11, and then we pulled in V01 last night, which was the one that put like the pink color in there. And I changed it to BV01 tonight so it stays in a muted purple color for the background. So those are the ones that's what we're going to do. And we're going to hope and pray it turns out fabulous. I'll probably do a darker wooden floor I'm going to zoom in for you guys because I'm about to get started. Probably a little bit darker brownish wooden floor, so that it offsets the tile in the background. So I need my little ruler here so I can basically get the line straight. I won't be using it like I'm all worried about it and specific, but I want to get it for the most part in the right spot. So when I do that, I have this little tiny ruler. I don't really need the measurements, but I do need to know, which is why I kind of like this Tim Holtz glass mat behind here, because I can use this ruler to keep my line straight, and I line it up with the lines on the mat here and the lines on the mat here. Hi, Becky. So that I can keep straight lines, because, yeah, when you're doing the, I mean, you know, the wall and the floor are not going to not be a straight line, or you got a terrible architect on your house. So I'm lining that up so I can put in with my W0. That's the first one I'm going to use. Hello, hello. Wait, that is, I am so off screen. Hold on one second. Let me get on screen so you guys can see. Maybe I'm zoomed in just a little bit too far. Let me zoom out just a little bit. There we go. Now you can see what I'm using, and you can see how I measured out. I've lifted up my hand, so now I'm a little off. But first I make sure that the top of the paper is lined up on this line, and then my ruler is lined up with this line, top and bottom. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put in like the separation from where the floor is going to stop and the tile is going to start. All of the floor and tile will be done with this W0, just to make sure that I have, you know, straight lines and all that stuff. And I want it to be really light so that I want it to be really, really light so that I can color over it and you won't be able to see it. So that is the plan. So I'm only going to draw these lines from where the last line I just put, this one right here. I'm going to stop at the Kraken and then go up here, because we're going to kind of make that a little sign. So I'm sort of skipping that spot for now. And there's no real, I'm not really measuring the distance between the tiles. I'm just winging it. That's the artist in me. Just wing it. It'll come together in the end. Hi, Brenda. You didn't miss much, but we're going to do a tile background for this little Kraken. And because we already have them colored, we don't even have to do that much tile background. So that's kind of cool. So I'm just kind of eyeballing how far apart I put them. Just as long as they're close, I think that's good enough. People aren't really going to be looking at the background that much. They're really going to be looking at the Kraken himself. So, because he's so adorable. So I'm just putting in my baselines here. If I decide one is too close or too far, I can change it now. I'm just putting in the basics for now. It's too bad Jamie's not here, because she would be shocked that I am actually doing a background. But this was such a cute little guy we got. I just want him to be in a bathroom so bad. Nope, Jamie's still in jail. She should be out in the morning, though. She should be able to do a live in the morning to see you guys. But, nope, she's been in there all day long. She's getting a lot of work done at the house, though. Does that make you want to laugh? Hi, Ellen. Okay, one more over here on this side, and then we'll have that base part done. I'll put them right here. There we go. And down here. So now he looks like he's kind of in jail. Like Jamie. All right, so on the other side, we need to build our tiles. So we're going to need to go the other way now to get those square tiles in here. Hi, Jen. We're building a background. Trust me, it's not my regular thing, but I figured I'd give it a go whirl today. And I was so busy building up the make and take project earlier that I looked at my watch and I was like, oh my gosh, I was going to practice tiling or something before I started this live, but I didn't have time because it was like 5 minutes to 10. So I was like, oh well. It's going to be what it is. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? What would you do if you started a background and then you didn't like it? What would you do? I can tell you what I'd do. But I'm curious to see what you guys would do. Would you just chunk your paper? Because I certainly wouldn't. Look at this awesome colored guy here. Nobody? Nobody has an opinion on that, what they would do? Alrighty, there we go. We have sort of a tile background. So now I'm going to choose real quick which tiles I want to make my accent colors in purple, and I'm just going to put a little mark in them so I don't color them the wrong. Exactly, I would die cut them or throw it in a scan and cut. Exactly, that's exactly what I would do because I would never waste this. So I'm going to put these little X's in the squares that I want to make purple so I don't color them in this tone. And I'm randomly picking them. That's kind of how I think it happens when you have it in your house, tile like that in your house. They just randomly stick some colors, not too many, but a few. So, and if we get done and we need a few more, we can do that. So I'm gonna start with the purple tiles first. So I have my base foundation, and we'll worry about the wood floor later. We're gonna work on the tile at the top first. So I am gonna put this one back in here. I'm gonna pull out my W2, which is a little bit darker. And what I want to do is build kind of a fence area around these purple squares with this W. So that I know exactly where I don't want to cross, so I don't get anything in the purple flowers, purple flowers, in the bubbles. I don't want to get anything in the bubbles, and I don't want to bleed over and not have a straight line for my tile. So that's going to be one purple tile, and this one. And I'm not going to do the top because I need to build a picture frame around that, the little what's cracking. Because wouldn't that be cute if the little Kraken had a sign in his bathroom that said what's cracking? So this is just building the base foundation for my colors. So it'll take a little while, but the background won't take as long. hopefully, as it took to do the Kraken the other night. And I have to do this kind of slow because I want to keep the square of the tiles that I built in there. Because when they get going wonky, it's going to look funny. And I'm kind of curving the little corners a little bit. I don't know why. I just think it'll look better. Now this one's going to be a little challenging because we're going to have to go around these awesome bubbles we did the other night. We don't want to go over them because remember I said you can't color over the glitter gel pen, so or it ruins your nib, and I don't want to ruin my nib, so I am not going to touch those bubbles at all. You see how much easier it is to make your square shapes when you already put your lines in here ahead of time? Much easier. And these are going to be our purple tiles. Everybody have a good day today? I had a rough day today. I had a really bad headache this afternoon and had to lay down for a little while, but it's much better now. I guess I just knew I wanted to do this live with you guys tonight. It's a little bit of a rough day for me, but yeah, I shine at night, so sort of like a star. Right. Anybody trying to make some squares with me? You know, you could grab a piece of paper and just practice some tile squares. Even if you're not building a background, it would give you some practice. Okay. I think those are going to be the squares that are going to be purple, and then the rest of them are going to be like a off-white color. Freezing all day. I have been cold too. Oh, you clean Nona's markers? That takes a really long time to do that. I'm gonna switch to my purple colors, which is the BB13, BB11, hi Jessie, and BB01. Snow is coming. Not here in Texas though. It's not that bad at our house. It was all dried up before the sun went down, so it wasn't bad at all. So I'm going to use BB13, and I'm going to go right over top of this gray color. And I'm going to bring it out just a little bit. So I'm going to be really careful around my little bubbles. I want to bring this out some more. And these don't have to be necessarily, I mean, you can use regular strokes with them. You don't necessarily have to have, you know, fancy schmancy stuff. That's why the backgrounds are so fun, because there's no, there's no pressure. Whatever it is, it is. So then I'm going to kind of push back with this color. Sort of go over the other colors that I put on there. And then once we get one tile done, we'll do more than one at a time. You had to go out in the cold rain. third 3D printer. We got our second one, so we're catching up. But we have to return it and get a new one because it doesn't work right, which is such a bummer. Gonna fill in the rest of this square, and I'm gonna start saturating. So I'm not gonna go too far to the edge because I want to make sure that it doesn't leak out into the other one. So I'm just kind of saturating this center. See that little tile? And then if I flip this over, you can see how much, like, I really saturated that paper. I like these colors. I like the way that they behave. So I think it's gonna look really good in a tile. I can't imagine what it's gonna sound like when more than one 3D printer is running at a time. So I'm going to go to this one and then this one. And I'm going to do two of them at the same time. I want these to look a little more rounded and smooth. Oh, yeah. I hate it when they don't work right. I don't want to do these little tiny brush strokes because it leaves like uneven edges, and I really want these tiles to be smooth, really, really smooth. I just think they'll look the best that way. So just building this up a little bit around here. I am going to kind of come under here a little bit, just for a little shadow underneath that, but not much. I don't really want too much on there. So now I'm going to do this one. I have a hair on my nib. Don't know where that came from. That piece of purple hair. Did I color it purple or I don't know. Yeah, I bet. I know it. Ours has been running so much lately. I was just thinking it's not running right at the moment, and I was like, it is more quiet in here. Oh, hubby says it's getting ready to start up again. So you'll probably hear it when it starts up. Now BV11. These other ones will be a lot easier because they're all going to be the same color. They'll go a little faster than these little purple ones. But if I get outside the lines on the purple ones, then I'm going to have two purple ones side by side. And I don't really want to do that because it'll take away from the differences. But I was doing artwork tonight earlier. That was fun. Definitely make the most out of all my minutes in a day. So you'll notice I'm more on the side and way up on the marker, so I have, because I don't have to have as much control when I'm not going out to the edge of the line, and I can put more ink on the paper. So it's quite different than when I was coloring the Kraken. I was holding the marker way down here like this. But I don't really need to do that when I'm doing this, because I don't need like perfect brush strokes or anything like that. Okay. BV01 is our last color in this. And I am really going to saturate it again. There we go. Number 2 done. And I'm really just brushing in this color all over, just making sure I don't have those rough lines from where I had the other color and now I have this color. So I'm just smoothing it out, saturating that paper. And there we go. One more swoosh on that one. One more swoosh on that one. And then we're going to move on to 2 more tiles. So back to BB13. So we're not going to use too awful many colors tonight like well, I don't know. When we get to the wooden floor, we might use quite a few more. But for right now, for the tile, we're not really using that many colors. Not in the bubbles. It's be really delicate going around those bubbles. But we can do it. There we go. We got to turn the paper a lot tonight. You guys sure are quiet tonight. Long day today. Like me. Now that I did around the outside, I'm gonna actually just build upon that color a little bit more. Okay, move into this tile right here. A little bit closer on the nib while I'm doing this detail work. I want to keep that corner there. Now I'm going to build inside, softening that harsh area. Okay. And then we only have 2 more after this. Then we got to start building the other ones. But they're side by side, so it'd be all right. This one, I'm back to BB 11. Just kind of some fast and furious fat brush strokes, which you don't hear me say very often because usually I'm saying those teeny tiny skinny little brush strokes, but tonight they're just fat and free brush strokes. Oh, in the beginning when I first started coloring and stuff, I had a really hard time letting go of my cards that I colored. But after a few years, I had so many of them, I kind of got past that. But there are a few favorites that I tend to keep for like a really special occasion when I really want to give it to somebody I know is going to cherish it and not just toss it. I mean, I understand that people toss them, and I get that. I'm kind of okay with that as long as you don't do it in front of me. But I save these kind that are like precious to me for a little while, and then I generally give them to someone that will really, really like it or really cherish it for a while. So really good family or friend. But yeah, it is hard to let go of them when you really like them. I take pictures and then I can go back and look at the pictures later. It's one reason why I really like the ATC cards that we do, because I always keep a copy of my ATC card with everyone else's, and that way I get to keep a piece of my own art. It helps me to let go of the cards a little bit more than I used to. But now I make so many cards, man. I'm like sometimes I got an assembly line going in my own house. I do them in, like, I don't know how you guys do cards. I know Jamie usually does hers like one at a time. Like when she does the live and stuff like that, like she'll color an image and then make a card, and then, but what I do is I color a whole bunch of images. A whole bunch of them. And then I will hold them all, and then at one night I'll cut all the like I usually have all my cardstock cut in card size in all colors that I have on hand all the time. So I don't have to cut it when I want one, and I have a bunch of background paper already cut in the size for the front of my favorite card size. And then I'll sit down with the huge bucket of embellishments and my colored images and those papers and stuff, and I'll just match them all up. Like I put them in a stack, like the base, the accent paper I want to put with it, the image, and then when I'm ready to make the cards, I'll mass produce them at that time. I just start going through them all and assembling the cards together, put the image where I want it, and then I just pull my bling bucket and stick some bling on it. And usually when I sit down to do them, I can do like 30 to 50 at a time. So I end up with a ton of cards at my house. So I give them away for holidays, and I mail lots of cards out to people. But I do have a few images that I've never gotten rid of. Like I colored a mermaid once and I saved it forever. It's a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I was like, after all that work, I'm not giving that to anybody. But I have colored really big images for people and gave them to them as gifts and stuff. I always keep them if I win a contest. Like if I won a couple of times with Connie Fong and a couple other places. I won their challenges, and I kept those cards. But I generally have about 200 to 300 cards on hand all the time. That sounds insane, I know, especially since I send them out all the time, but you can't be repetitive. None of them are the same thing. They're all colored images. They're all different. I don't usually do any duplicate cards. I'm with you. I don't usually ever duplicate cards. The closest I got to duplicating cards was when I made those gift cards the other night, and I used the same pattern paper and the same cardstock, but the images were different. I posted them both. You guys probably saw them in the group, but I know what you mean. Giving them to your grandma to give out. Yes, that's really sweet. I know. One time when my mom was leaving for Pennsylvania, she was going to be gone for a long time, and she didn't have a bunch of cards in stock, so she just came over and raided mine and took them with her so she could have them. And that worked out really good. The only problem is when you give cards away, like, does anybody else run into this problem? I give my cards away to people, like, for Christmas, I'll give them a bundle of cards that don't have anything in the inside, and they can make them whatever they want, and summer birthday and all different holidays and all kinds of stuff. But then those people send out all the cards and tell me that they've run out, but I never get any of them. So I'm kind of like, how come you never send me a card? And they're like, well, you made them. I'm like, well, I don't keep them. I give them away. So if you send it back to me, I would have it again. It's just kind of funny. They're like, well, I don't want to do that. Or sometimes the people will go out and buy me one, and because they're like, well, because I have all the cards that you gave me, that's all I have. And I'm like, well, that's why I gave them to you, so you wouldn't have to go out and pay those crazy prices for cards. All right, look, we have our tiles. They look good too. I like them. I'm happy so far. Happy so far. Okay, so I'm done with the purple for now. Now we have to go to the other tiles. So I think I'm going to start with W2 first, because you can always get darker if you want. I contemplated W4, but I'm afraid that might be too dark, but we can go back in and change that if we need to. And then I'm going to go to E41, because that's going to make it a little more, look a little more on the off-white side. And then I'm going to go to E40, and then I'm going to hit it with either W0 or W00. It just depends on how it looks. So we'll see. We'll see. Exactly. Put sticky notes in them with your message. Then you take the sticky note out and you can give it to somebody else. Yep. I like that. That's a great idea. So starting down here, this is going to be my first regular tile, not my accent tile. So I definitely want to make sure, yeah, I may have to come in with a little bit darker color to kind of put that line back in there, so it'll separate from this tile to this tile. But I don't know yet. I haven't decided. We'll see what it looks like when I get a couple of tiles down. Are you watching? Because you know I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it. My hubby is sitting in the chair watching me. It makes me nervous. All right, there's square one. But we also have to do this one over here. I'm really afraid that's not going to separate. So I am going to go up one to W3 just to put that little line in there. So it'll be slightly darker, but it'll be the separator. Because I want us to be able to see the difference between the two tiles.
Just constructive critiques.
Yeah, he does. He's just trying to help. And now they're really good critiques now. But when I first started out, I really just wanted him to say, that looks really good. But I don't usually get a, that looks really good. I usually get, you could try to do this, or you could try to do that. But that's what happens when you live with a crafty, artistic person. And you are crafty and artistic. Both of you are the same way. And sometimes I just ask him, what do you think about this? Honestly, tell me, should I change it? Should I do it different? But, yeah, sometimes I get frustrated because all I wanted was pat on the back and I didn't get it. All I wanted was somebody to say, that looks really good. And, yeah, he would rather tell me, what I could do to change it and make it better. Which is, it's not a bad thing. It's just that sometimes
I just try to push you to be better.
I know. And sometimes I just want to just be happy with what I did. I think that I probably could have done a shortcut by like just mass putting a light gray over this, but I really wanted it to come out with some detail and I wasn't sure what it was going to look like, so I needed to have a little more control. Yeah, I think hubbies do that to us. They just wanna. They just wanna help. But it doesn't really feel like that necessarily.
Especially when you draw.
Yes, especially when I'm doing artwork for stamps and stuff. Then he's really critique-ish because he wants all of you to be happy with what the end result is. So,
Because I draw too.
and he draws too. So, yeah. So he's opinionated when I'm drawing artwork. This is E41. And this is going to be a little bit of a different color when it goes in there. You'll see. See how it's... I'll hold it up so you can see. It's a little bit of a different shade, but I think it'll help to lean towards making it look a little more realistic than just a gray, a little bit of gray on the wall. Huh? Oh, you gotta go? He always thinks you're talking to him. That's funny. Yeah, I could see that. This is pretty quiet. Sometimes we're just in here working and we're not talking to each other. So when we go live, we don't know. He doesn't know sometimes. Oh, are you going live tonight? He's encouraging though. That's a really good thing. Bye, Jen. Are you leaving? Getting late for you? This looks like it's going to take forever, but I think once I have a few of them in here, I might be able to do this a little bit faster. Alrighty. Let's see how these three look when we get done. I'm going to do the E40. And this is just softening that beige color I put in there already. Real loosey-goosey on that one. And then I'm going to go in with the W00 because it's really, really light. And it'll start pushing some of that around. I'm just going to kind of do some saturation in here in the center part. If it's not enough and I can still see my lines, I may have to go in there with the W0, but yeah, I thought they would go really well with this sweet little guy hanging out in his bathtub.
PC rings just means he hasn't cleaned his tile.
Yeah. Might have dirty tile. I like it though. I like it this color though. I'm kind of thinking I might want to switch over to the W0 and see if that one goes a little better. This one seems to be a little bit too light. So I'm gonna just do a, plus my, for some reason my W00 feels like it's running out of juice, but I know it's not because, you know, it feels heavy enough. Yeah, I think I like this one better, the W0. So I'm gonna stick with that one as we go along here. And I have the W3 handy for my lines. So I'm gonna start with my W2 again. Probably gonna do the rest of those. Might go a little further, we'll see. So we're just kind of building these tiles. Feels like we're building the whole wall, just like the architect. Didn't know you could be all kinds of things at one time, did you? Alright, so I'm going to come in here real quick with my W3, and I'm going to build this separation here so I don't miss it when I'm doing my, I'm going to actually put a little bit on these edges too, so when I get ready to do those tiles, I can see where my lines are supposed to be. Okay, moving on to the next one. Kind of building that where I want that sign to be. I will probably color over some of this tile when I get ready to do that sign. If you guys like this technique, I can do brick walls really well, but I really just envision this being tile for this little Kraken guy. So I didn't do what I know how to do. I did what I had to figure out as we go along, hoping it works out. If it doesn't, at least you'll know I'm real. I'm just being for real. Gonna go in with the W3 and build in this line real quick. And this line. Then I'm gonna go back to my W2 real quick and soften that line I just put in there. Then on to my E41. You like these colors a lot. They look really natural, I think. Almost like they do really well for stone too, I think. I think the key is that when this part in the middle dries and I use this second color, I go almost up to the edges, which leaves that almost like, let me show you up close, almost like that gritty look of a tile. So I don't touch that middle part because I want it to stay the way it is. I hope kind of pushing those colors up towards that where the tiles would be meeting each other. And mostly here because I don't want to touch that purple, because we definitely don't want to pull that purple into our non-purple tiles, because then we'll have to have another purple tile. Grout, that's it. That's what I was going for. Exactly. I do not have tile walls in my bathroom, but I think if I built my own house, I would put tile on there. Great grout work. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to build. So I want it to look like that. I really wanted it to look like that. So that was my goal. So that's good. We're getting there. See, we're moving a little faster on these now that I know the sequence of the colors and the way I want to do them. So usually when I have a live, I've colored this before, or I'm familiar with how to color these types of things. And so it's a little bit easier for me. But this one, this is the first time, this is the absolute first time I've ever colored a tile wall. So I'm kind of learning with you as we go along. What works, what doesn't. And basically what I did was right before I went online, I looked up tile on Google just to look at what an actual tile looks like, and then I came on live and tried to build it. W0. This is the one that we're going to kind of saturate that center part with. Oh, you like it, Mickey? Are you ready to try some tile? You ready to try to learn how to color some tile? Anybody trying it on a spare piece of paper just to practice? Like, all right. Okay. We got one side, one piece done. Now I'm going to go in with my W2. And I'm going to start, we got some little spots down here I really want to get. So we got to be real careful going along our areas here. So I'm going to do this really, really lightly. Get that tile work in there. This is where that one's going to break. We don't want to bring any purple in here. So we got to be real careful. Yeah, a lot in your house that you get. No, you're not. I mean, you're late, but you're not. We're repeating this process, Cheryl. So, yeah, it's totally fine. And yeah, if I had tile in my house, I would definitely be looking at it before I did this. So this is W3. I'm gonna come in and build those little in between grout areas again. For these parts, and put a little bit like by the purple. I'm gonna actually put this one in for now because I'm about to go on that square as well. I am super glad you're practicing with me. That's awesome. Real light around here, light hand so I don't pull any color, and around all these spaces right here. I'm just going to fill that in. Hi, Yvonne. I should put my iPad up too when I'm doing these lives, because let's go ahead and do this one up here too, because the comments go by. And if I don't look up at the time, I miss them. So I go back and usually watch it the next day and comment if there's stuff that you guys asked that I missed when I'm preparing to upload it to YouTube. I kind of watch it and see if I miss anything. But if you really wanted to ask, if you asked a question and I didn't answer it and I missed your question, you can ask it again. Maybe I'll see it next time it pops up. Okay, I'm going to grab that W3 again. We're going to grab that a lot tonight. And I'm going to just double do these little separating wall area. And then I'm going to go ahead and build this one out because I'm going to do this one next. And maybe I'll just go along here and do the top, and we'll get that part built out. I am going to put a little bit in here. I'm also going to just do this on the white paper to make sure I didn't pick up any purple, because we know we don't want to put purple on there, and the wrong one. Okay, so that's just kind of building that up for me. W2. Oh, I don't want to do, I already did W2. I need to go to E41 for these ones down here. So I don't want them to dry too much before I put in the next color. I do not use pencil. I do not use pencil because you can use pencil and it will go over, but if it shows through and these are such light colors, you can't erase it once you color over it. So I used the W0 to draw all these lines in before we got started. So usually just try to find your lightest marker and do your drawing with the light marker, because then when you go over it with the other colors, it just blends out and then you can't see that you drew those lines in. And even if you made a mistake or changed your mind or whatever, usually you can't even see them anymore. You know, like if you were doing grass or trees or hills or something, you won't be able to tell. So yeah. So I did not use pencil. I know a lot of people will say that, but I used to use pencil. But when you use pencil, you have to draw all the lines in there and then erase them so they're like really, really light, and then it might work. And you might not be able to see it, but not when the color is so light. I think I would have problems, so I opted not to do that. But yeah, I have messed up a few images in my earlier days by doing that. Okay, so moving on to E40. You're welcome, no problem. And then E40, and then we'll have one more color, and then we get to move on to some more tiles. So this is a little bit meditative, takes a little while to do. I think if I just did a regular painted wall, I could have done it a lot faster, but this is kind of a cool technique and I like it, and it makes big impact, I think. When people are looking at it, they're going to be like, oh my gosh. Plus it gives you guys time to repeat the tile practice as well. And the more experience you get, the faster you can color. It used to take me like hours upon hours to do an image this big, because it just took forever. Because I was so worried and going slow, and so I'd be able to whip these backgrounds out if I did them as often as Jamie does. I always tell her I don't know how she comes up with all those ideas. Did you guys see her tree the other day with the fairy? Oh my gosh, if you didn't see that, ooh, you guys should check that out on YouTube because it was pretty amazing. I've tried trees. I'm not so great at them. But I think if I just did them more, I would be better. So all right, moving on to the next set of tiles. that grout really does look good on these tiles. Even close up, it looks really good. I'm super happy with how that's coming out. Because it would have been just a little bit embarrassing for it to have gone haywire, but I'm sure it will one day. She's still in jail. She's still in Facebook jail. I even got notified that they put her in Facebook jail. I sent the message to her last night. I was like, I got notified. She's getting a lot of work done though. I don't know if she's watching us right now, but it won't let her comment or like or post or go live. Like, she's really in jail. She can't do anything. She can't even like someone else's post or, you know. How do they put you in jail or whatever? They send you a notification that says, you know, something like the content you put on there was unacceptable, or you did this, or you posted something you weren't supposed to, or I mean, I don't know, it can be a multitude of stuff. I don't know what she did because it wouldn't tell me what she did. It said the content was hidden, that triggered it. But they send you a message and they tell you, and then they tell you what they're limiting and for how long and for how many days or how many hours, or yeah. Like, they tell you, and they'll specifically tell you. They told Jamie what she did. She didn't tell me, but they told her what she did to get in Facebook jail. But they give it all to you, and then you can do a message that says you don't accept that or whatever. I can't think of the word right now, but you can dispute the decision. But then again, if you do, they said first of all, it takes 24 hours for somebody to get back to you. Well, they only put her in Facebook jail for like 15 hours or 20 hours or something. So what good is that? Yeah. If you can do something and not even realize that you did it. And if it's against their rules or regulations or whatever, it got flagged by them, then yeah, they'll just cut you off. Yes. Exactly. I mean, you don't even know. It, like the other day, I got notified when I was on Jamie's live as I was tagging everybody. And it said, you can't do that anymore. That's a red flag. And so you can't comment at all for 5 minutes. I was like, what? Hi, Wanda. So I quit commenting, and then it released it for me. But then I was afraid to comment again. So I waited a while. This one is E40. I hope you're having a better day, Wanda. So yeah, I think they just have trigger words and stuff that they pick up on. It is embarrassing. And it's really frustrating when it's your group, you know, that you're managing, and then you get kicked out of it. But I tried to keep you guys updated. Look at that, it's coming along. Yeah, you do a little bit, unless you want to be, you know, in Facebook jail. And then they warn you and scare you by saying, you know, if you don't follow the rules or you do it again within this length of time or whatever, then they'll shut you down for longer periods of time, and then eventually they'll just close your account if you keep getting locked in Facebook jail. That's what I read today. I was like, for real? Really? Thanks. I'm pretty happy with how it's coming out. I mean, I wouldn't say it's my best work ever, but I do think I'm liking it. I might like it even better when it's done, or maybe tomorrow, like I said last night. Sometimes I'm looking at it up so close that I can see all the little blemishes on there. Haha. Alright. This looks like my marker's getting dry. You see how it's lighter on the tip? That means that it doesn't have as much juice up here as it does down here, which usually means that your marker's getting low on ink. So, W2 again, moving back in that same color. Same color range there. Building my tiles first. And then I'm going to go in here in these little spots in here that are going to be tile behind. I'm just going to color those in. I will go over those again with the E40 color so that they're the right tone. Go this way, and do this one. It doesn't really matter which one you do when, I'm just randomly picking them. So yeah, I'll be done, so. Okay, now let's start building up our tile. Yeah, earlier I was saying, Cheryl, if you didn't want to do, if you didn't color the octopus the other day or the Kraken, that you could still get a piece of paper out and draw a couple of tiles and just try to practice them along with me. The tiny spots are making you crazy. Yeah, I know what you mean. You want to just get them out of the way. Just get those little tiny spots out of the way so you don't miss them. Moving in. Around here. We got another spot right here. One right here. This might actually be a bubble, but it can be whatever you want. It's hard to tell. I didn't put any shimmery on it, so I must not have thought it was a bubble last night. Let's keep this kind of rounded here. Building it up. Now we put that W3 in between, so I'm trying not to touch those spots with this darkest color, but I will touch them when I get to the W0, just to soften that spot that's very clear. That line that's really clear that it's there. All right, moving on to E41. I don't know, my W2 cap is really tight, so kind of hard to get that on. So I'm going to take this color and go over those teeny tiny spots again, because I want that all colored in. Oh, and I missed a few right here. You see those? One here and one here. You got to go in with the W2. But you're lazy right now? Well, that's okay, you know, because you can always watch a replay. You can meditatively watch me color this tile, or visit, or say, talk, or whatever. I need a drink. This is a lot of work. You see my cup? Haha. Color all the things. Deanna Maddox got me that cup. And I use it all the time. At least I think it was that one. Yep. It says she signed had her name put on the bottom to me from her, so. I love that cup. Hi, Michelle. Oh, oh yeah, can you hear? He's not working on, he's not doing leather stamping tonight, but can you hear the 3D printer in the background? It's a running. It wasn't earlier, but it is now. It's making these. He was sitting in here kind of chatting with us a little bit a little while ago. I think he went to the living room. Uh-oh, he came back, so he might be pounding over there in a little bit. You're loving the background? Yay! I was saying, I think, were you on earlier? Because this is the first time I've ever done this. I was hoping it was going to work out. Now that I said it, you can hear it. Maybe one night we'll go over there and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's running. It's pretty super cool. At least it's not the at least it's not the laser cutter running, because it's louder. When it first comes on, I can hear it, and it drives me crazy, and then I just get used to it, and then I don't notice it anymore. And then W0, hopefully that, we may have to put some ink in this just to hold us over, but we'll see how far we can make it. This marker is getting dry. It's still putting down a lot of ink, it just has that weird look on it. Out, bringing that together, finishing that tile, moving on. So that one looks like it's going up higher because this is going to be like a little picture frame over that, so you won't notice that when I get done. Okay, W2. Back to W2. First I'm going to build this line, and then I'm going to just mark where these are, but we're not really going to color that in. And then I'll mark this one and this one. You remember that game we used to play? Oh, I'd love to see how to refill. Oh, okay. Well, I'll put some in here. My brother is there. Are you in Missouri? I can show you how I'll put some ink in it in a little bit. And if not, at the end, if you want to stay after I finish coloring this, if I haven't had to put ink in it, I'll show you how to fill it. So, honey, I'll need a filling station. Okay, so now that I drew those lines in, I'm going to go in real quick with my W3 and make that deep line in there with that one. Because once I start coloring with the W2, it kind of washes out and then it all looks like the tile runs together. So I'm using this W3 to really define that. So I'm going to try to do a bunch of squares at one time this time. Oh, wow. I did not know he was in town. That's awesome. Might have to... Too bad the weather's been so bad I haven't been able to get up there to... I might have to come up there and see him. And you guys.
Your brother's in town?
Mm-hmm. He's probably till Sundays helping my dad do some stuff. Did he come by himself, Mom? My brother lives in Missouri. So we don't... He drove there today. Oh. Yeah, I know. I'm flying to Idaho on Tuesday. And that I'm taking them with me so that we can put them in the shop on Tuesday. Where I missed this right here. I really want that on there. So they'll be there on Tuesday. Yeah, so my husband that's why we're printing so late, still running the printer late in the evening, is because we're trying to get them all done for you guys, so we can get them in the shop as soon as possible. Trying to save on shipping too. Oh, he's by himself. Trying to save on shipping too. I mean, if I'm flying, I might as well get the most out of it. Tell you about the pen holders. So these are they hold a 5-color combo, and they have this little place for you to put your caps so they don't roll around. And we have them in a hot pink, purple, white, and black, and they're going to be in the shop really soon. And then there's also going to be a Copic refill station that's coming as well. My husband designed these products to help us out. So he's currently printing them on the 3D printer right now. But they're really, I really like them. They're really handy to have. They also help you, like if you choose a sequence and you can't, and it doesn't go in number order or whatever, you put them in here, you always know where you're at in this sequence. So it kind of helps with that too. I like that part about it. Especially when I'm live, because I'm talking and coloring at the same time. I could see myself picking up the wrong marker. And it makes it easier for everyone else to see what color I'm on. It's just super handy. Woo! That slippery little sucker got out of the way. E41 is next. So this is definitely a repetitive procedure going on over here. But in the end, we're hoping it's going to be well worth it. It also gives you a lot of practice on control and how to hold your pen, your Copic marker, and how to blend really well. A lot of things you could learn from doing tile over and over again. Each piece of tile. Plus you feel so super proud when you're done. And as you can see, it's not very technical. It's pretty easy to do. Backgrounds are always easier than you think. Unless it's a tree. And then I don't know why I struggle with them. I think I do better with what do I use when I do the live? I don't know. My husband bought me some cheap little holder thing that holds my phone for me. And I just sit it over my desk right there, and it kind of comes over, and like the camera's right there. And it's usually pretty easy to do. And then before I start my live, I cast to my television set. Have a big TV over there that my hubby won with cosplay, and he let me have it in my craft room. It's really, really big. So when I am coloring live, I have the TV on, but I don't have the volume on, and then I can see the comments on the screen, but usually only one at a time. So if people comment a lot, I miss some of them. But it makes it a lot easier to follow comments and stuff like that when it's on the TV. And it's more real time on the TV than it is if I watch like my iPad or something. It's delayed a little bit, so it's a little challenging because you're watching yourself color after you colored. But when I have the TV, it's real time. I'm watching it just the same as you guys are watching it. So I can see sort of what you see. When I look up, I can see if I'm off the screen, that kind of thing. So I kind of like that. I don't ever go live without putting it on the TV. I struggled a lot in the very beginning when first couple times I went live, staying in the screen when I'm zoomed in, because when I'm zoomed in so close, it's easy to go out of the screen. And I used to put these little tape marks around the edge so I knew not to go outside that edge. Got kind of lazy on that one and just did a circle color on that one. They kind of look better when you go around like this, I've noticed. And this one, because they're kind of dry, and then when you wet the paper, you kind of push the color a little bit. You can learn all my habits. All those bad habits are just going. But I want it to make that look like the grout, so I'm trying to go around it and not touch that area, but push the ink that way, so it kind of makes it look like it's a little bit dirty. Yeah, I think this little stand I have is some cheapo little some cheap little junky stand, but it works. So far so good. I missed one. I can take a picture of it if you want, and just send me a PM and I can take a picture of it, and then I can show you what it is. It works pretty good. I haven't had it fall on me, so that's good. It doesn't shake too much, but honestly, my husband has kind of rigged it because, you know, he's cool like that. I need to draw this one in real quick. I missed this one earlier. So there's 2.5 pound weights holding it down, like his lifting weights, he puts it on the base so it won't shake when I shake the desk. And that helps a lot. All right, color number 2, E41. That sounded a little like bingo, didn't it? E41. Even though there's no E in bingo. All right, E40. And W0. Ooh, look at that marker drying out. Drying out. I'll show you as we keep going. You're going to see this one get really light. Okay. I'm going to turn it around now so I can start working on this side. So W3, that's the one, the darkest one that I'm using to really bring out that area. And then in between here. And I'm just following those really light lines that I put in with that marker earlier. Oh, you know what? I think the lighting is really good. I'm really glad that that's a very good lighting picture, but I think it's because I bought this. Well, my husband won this light, and it's amazing, and it's white light, and it's a floor lamp, and I was like, "Ooh, I want one of those too." So, can I order one? And we went online, and that light was like $250, and I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not paying $250 for a light." And so my husband started looking online for one for me, and he found one that attaches to your desk, and it's a light. It's a really long light. I was going to show you how long, but my hands aren't even in the screen when I show you, so that's not really helpful to you. But it's a really long light, and it's white light. So and you can turn the angle, like you can just touch it and turn the angle. It's like a tube light. And so I usually angle it down towards the desk right here when I'm live, and it really brightens it up for me. Because, you know, you have to be able to see what you're doing when you're coloring. I mean, you just can't not. And it's important to me that if I'm going to do a live, that you get the best benefit out of it. I missed the line here. So this is W3. I need a darker line there. And back to W2. Yes, yes, the white light. The white light is the best. It really is. And I struggled because, you know, you can get some pretty cheap lights on Amazon, 25, 30 bucks or something. You can get some pretty good ones. If anybody needs a suggestion of it, let me know and I can take a picture of this one that I have. It's not the one that I bought that you can twist and it's like a tube and stuff. What was it, honey? Like 100 bucks?
That was 150.
150. It was 150 bucks for that light, but it is, I mean, it puts off an enormous amount of light. It is amazing. But I do have this other cheap one that I was using before that is on my right hand side. So I have light coming from that direction and that direction. I don't always have this one on when I'm coloring because I can put that light right over my work when I'm not live. But when I'm live, I can't do that because then you can see the light reflect in the glass on my desk, and it's just frustrating in the video. So I don't have it right over, so I have to turn on the other light too. Around the bubbles without touching them. You just have to remember, you just have to tell yourself when you're doing a project like this that takes a while, is don't get tired and rush yourself, because if you get lazy and start rushing yourself, you're going to be able to tell. E41. I'm liking it though. I am really, really happy with how it's turning out. So.
Now you have to do the floor tiles.
Do what?
Floor tiles.
Yeah, I gotta do these, and then the floor is gonna be wood. I want to make the floor wood, kind of like the ship a little bit, but. Maybe a little bit lighter wood, but not too light, because I needed to offset my tiles. I don't know. Not really a home decorator, so. The colorist in me is trying to think how the colors will work together really well.
Nice cherry.
You know what? That really isn't a half bad idea. My husband suggested a cherry wood.
Can you underpaint?
A cherry wood flooring. I mean, I could, but that's a bit more technical. We'll move into those technical things later. I could do this all day. This does not bore me. I love it. Even though it's repetitive and it's like a whole bunch, but look at how if we would have just done the whole background and then tried to put a little bit of, detail in there, we would have never got this effect that we're getting right now. Not that detailed. And frankly, I think it really just makes it awesome by getting as much detail as you can. Don't touch the bubbles. I can tell this E40, I filled this one recently because it is the one that is juiciest out of all of the ones that we are using right now. It's got some juice to it. You can even see what part is wet and what part is dry. Can you see that difference? Hold on, let me do it again and then I'll show you so you can see it. I'll do it on this one. Once I get that really wet color in there. Can you see the dark and light difference for where it's wet? It's really wet in this one. Oh, it's harder to tell on screen than it is when you're looking at it right here. But it's really pretty saturated. I'll show you the back when we get done so you can see how much saturation I really did on this thing. It's pretty saturated. Alright, time for the last color. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more tiles. Woo-hoo! One time I colored this somebody asked me to make them something. You know, one of those, what do you call that when somebody pays you to make something for them?
Commission.
I did a commission job one time for this lady. And she wanted a jazzy picture, like it to look, you know, jazz-ish. And so I had these little frogs playing a saxophone. It was really cute. And I put them in front of a graffiti brick wall. And it was 8.5 by 11. And I had to draw all those little tiny bricks on there and then color them in. It took a really long time, but it sure came out good. I think I have it. I think I have it right here, actually. I shall show you if you want to see. Check out these tiny bricks. Dun 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 dun. You know, that took a lot longer than these tiles are.
Just show me a mermaid.
Back to W2 for these last few tiles here. And then we're going to move on to the floor. And we're going to do the sign up here last because I want to give the paper time to dry before I put another color over top of it. It's your shopping on Amazon. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, she was pretty happy with it. She was making it into a metal sign type thing for her daughter's dorm room. She was super happy with it when I got done. But I had to draw out the letters, the lettering and all the words and stuff. So it took quite a while to do it, but I was pretty happy with how it came out. And then she just wanted a digital copy of it, so I got to keep the original, which was kind of nice. Because usually you don't get to keep your work like that. But she was like, no, you can have the original. Like, all right. All right, this is the last tile. I don't want that W3 in there because sure enough, I'll pick it up by mistake. E41. Did I put you guys to sleep with my meditative coloring here? Well, not the person who's shopping on Amazon. That person hasn't checked out yet. I like to go shopping on Amazon, but a lot of times I always say, oh, later, I'm going to get that on Amazon later. And then when I have the time to sit down and look on Amazon, I can't ever remember what it was I was going to get. Such a frustrating task. You're still watching, yay! We still have people watching. That's good because we're about to do a whole different technique now. A whole different technique. We're going to do the wood flooring next. And last color, W001. This is the one that needs some help. Come on, juice it up. Just a few last steps, little one. Just a few. Almost there. There we go. Look at those tile walls. So that is our background tile. And now we just have to make the floorboard. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. This one might actually sit in my craft room for a little while before I give it away or send it away. Okay, so I need to pick a color for my floorboard, my flooring, and I think my husband said to do something with a little bit of like the redwood in it.
Hey, look up.
Huh? You can send me your address. I might have to take it to the, we might have to take it to the expo and display it there for a little bit to hopefully, to help with people being able to see what the stamp set looks like when it's colored. Oh, I'm running some test runs on my color combo I picked to see if I like it. Getting a little lighter. Let's see. Yeah. Alrighty. I think that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna have one in it that has a little bit of red tone in, so we won't put a whole lot of that one in there. Hi Diane. E47 is gonna be the first one. Then E19, then E15, and E13, and E11. And before I get started, I'm going to grab that W00 that we talked about earlier for doing the flooring. And I'm going to just kind of draw in some slats for the wood. And I'm just going to freehand that because the wood is never perfect anyway. So first I'm going to put some lines in here that sort of show wood tiling slats. And they don't have to be straight because this is just a temporary show me where my lines are. And then usually the wood has like different offsets here for where the different wood slats were put, if you will. I don't really know how to say that because I'm not a floor tile person, but there we go. So this is just going to give me my let's see if you can see it. Can you see it? It's really, really light, but it's just going to give me my basis for where I want to put my coloring. I can see a little better in, like when I'm looking at it up close than you can see it on the camera, but I'm going to start with E47, and this is going to be significantly darker than what we've been doing, but we need it so he'll pop out. So I'm going to start off first by doing this line here where the floor and the tile meet. Hopefully I don't mess this up with wood flooring. But what's the worst thing that could happen? We just take a piece of paper and cut this all out of the bottom and then use the rest of it. There's always a fix. There's always a fix. Always, 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 always a fix. So now I'm just going in and kind of drawing in these lines that I put in there, temporary lines. And I'm putting them a little bit different than the temporary ones I put in there because I didn't think the slats were really wide enough. I kind of wanted them a little bit wider. So, not really following my temporary lines. These don't have to be all that perfectly straight because we're going to be doing so much crazy manipulation with them. But what do they call that? That fake wood flooring that has, what's that called, honey? Laminate. It's kind of like laminate. This one is. This flooring is. So I'm just putting in my lines first so I know where I want those to be. Kind of offsetting them a little bit from each other. I think this one kind of needs one over here. Okay, so that's kind of, it looks a little sketchy, but it'll be all right when we get going. So now the next one, that next color that we're going to use is E19, and this one's going to have a much more red type of tone to it. And I'm going to just do these like random little marks, kind of like wood, you know, wood slats or whatever.
Yeah, wood grain.
And I'm gonna do them from both sides, but I have to be really careful not to do right over top of this little duck or into my bubbles or anything. So I'm just kind of doing some small ones, kind of from both sides, just to get that base in there. When I put the other colors in, it'll blend these together and it won't look so crazy. And I really am laying on the side of that marker because I really want to give those to be thick, pretty thick lines. And I'm just putting them in there just, you know, wherever. No real big rhyme or reason for where they are. Just kind of throwing them in there a little bit. Just making sure it's a little evened out. I want them on both sides of all the little things. So now this looks really, really reddish. So now I'm going to tone it way down with these other colors that are coming through. And I'm thinking I'm going to switch this one out, this E13 for E23, because the E23 has more brown in it than red, and I think we're going to need that. So E15 is going to be our next color, and we're just going to kind of go in those same areas. I just wrote on my desk. Some short, some long. It's kind of random. I don't really have any rhyme or reason, just whatever looks good to me at the moment. Trying to be careful not to go over the duck or over the parts that are already colored. I do want this to be pretty solid up there. And wherever there's shadow. Kind of want that to be a little bit thicker with these darker colors. And right now we're just laying down the darkest ones in streaks and such, but once we get to the other colors, we'll do the more saturation and really bringing in the full. We really want to go along these lines. Okay. So you just, after you've practiced doing this kind of flooring, or, I mean, this could almost be like if you had a fisherman or something, you could put them on a dock, or, you know, anything, a porch or a house, anything you could do this kind of. We may draw in some little accents afterwards. Like, you know, sometimes that wood has like that little loopy thing. Depending on how good it looks, sometimes I add a little bit of extra details to it, but we might not need them because our tile looks like a lot of detail already. So now I'm moving to that E23.
Are you self-taught, or did you take classes to color like this?
Actually, it's a little of both. I took some classes from a Copic certified instructor in the beginning. I took some art classes in college. I took the Copic certification classes, beginner, advanced, intermediate, all of them that they had, everything I could get my hands on. I also did some kit and clouder classes for a little while. So I've kind of went around, and wherever I could learn a new technique or get more stuff, I did it. And then this kind of stuff, I just look on the internet at what the flooring looks like and just kind of practice and just try to build that same look. I never really watched YouTube videos like of colorists coloring because I wasn't a real big YouTube person. I didn't really know. I felt like it was overwhelming. I didn't really know how to use YouTube. So I didn't really use that until the past like year or so. So back when I was learning all of this stuff, I never... So some of it comes from art background and some of it comes from taking some classes, and some of it is just self-taught practice, trying to do it over and over again. So we still have another color. I'm glad you like it. We still have one more color. So we have E11, and we may have to do a little tweaks after, but we'll see. This one is one that I'm going to pretty much cover all of the stuff with it, because those areas that are darker will be lightened by this, and it will just help them all blend together. So this is one where you could use this side of it because you're really saturating that paper with everything, so you could use your... This is the kind of stuff I use this for, and then when I get to the really small places, I'll use the other end. But this is one area where you're covering like a whole lot of area at one time. Kind of makes it go a little faster. But see how it's lightening up and sort of blending together those colors? We have some really dark reds in here, so we may have to go back in with another brown color and sort of blend that out a little bit. Because that red is really red. I like it though, but I think we need another color. So let's see, maybe we need let's see if maybe we need a 25. Yeah, that'll work. So this is 25. I'm going to go in there with 25 and build on a little bit more of this brown in here and kind of blend out where these red ones are, so it doesn't look so definite there. Just kind of giving it a little more style there. And I want to focus on these areas where I drew the lines so they stand out a little more because I've washed them out with these other colors a little bit. So we're just kind of building that back in a little bit because you couldn't really see those lines as much anymore. Sometimes that happens. Just meshing a little bit of this brown to take a little bit of that other color out. And it's just different, just running those strokes in different areas helps make it cohesive. Let me go underneath this. Those big, long strokes. You lift the pen off the paper as you're doing it so the strokes get tinier as you go in. As you lift it up. So darker right where you let it down and then lift it up. You get smaller strokes there. So it's just practicing that really gets you there. So that's looking better, I think. So I am going to go back in with this E23. So that was 25. It is coming back alive. And then alive, it is. I think so too. It needed a little bit more. So I'm going to go back in one more time with this E23 to just kind of blend those darkest colors out. And kind of cover in some of this part that's really, really light. So not in a lot of places, but just a little bit. Until I feel like it's complete. The hardest part, I think, when you're doing something like this, is deciding when to stop. When do I stop and say, that's enough so I don't overdo it? And that's always a challenge for me. But I'll tell you what my final decision for knowing I want to stop is I'm going to pick this up and look at it from a distance instead of looking at it right up close.
And then ask me.
Oh yeah, and then I'll just say, hey, Dale, how does this look? I'm going to do a little bit more underneath here because this is in shadow here where the tub is in the way. I mean, not in the way. The tub is there that he's sitting in. So I'm just going to do a little bit more under those areas. And then I'll fold it up. Take a good look at it. I think it needs a little bit more shadow underneath here. So I'm just going to put that E25 in there a little bit more. Just to really make it look like it's in the shadow. But I'm only going to add now underneath in these shadow areas. So I really want those to stand out a little bit more. And kind of where his bubbles are. And then under here. But we needed that base work so you could still see the wood underneath where I'm putting the shadow. See, I think it needed that shadow area in there. It's hard for you. How long have I used Copic markers?
Put a little bit of shadow.
Probably about 10, 11 years.
Because his head's going to be blocking the light.
Yeah. There we go. So we have one more step. And we need to build us in a little frame up here. So I'm going to use these same colors. I think I'll stick with the E25. And I'm going to just build like a wooden, like a little wooden frame around this. So I'm going to do these little diagonals. I know it looks funny at first, but I do these little diagonals in here. And then I'm going to build these little wood frames. Yeah. May have to go in with darker color to cover up what I've already done, but we'll see how that goes. I'm going to use E23. I got that a little crooked. Do you see that? Better. I should have left myself a little bit more room for this question mark, but it's just art. And now I'm just building this frame so it's square and not funny looking. And once I have that in there, oh yes, Tyler's doing that. It's like at 5:30, I think. And then I'm going to use this very lightly around the edge to kind of build that frame up a little bit. This is E19. Yeah, that, I think, yeah. I think Tyler's class is going to be awesome. I can't wait. I'm probably as excited as you guys are to watch that one. So I'm building it in to kind of make that frame look like it's a little bit on the dimensional there. Do what?
She's asking what you plan on coloring tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow, I can't color tomorrow night. I'm not going to be live tomorrow night. I said that last night, but you might not have been here. The hubby and I are going out because I'll be leaving town soon to go to Idaho. So I'm going to go out with my hubby. But I will be back on Monday. Keep your eyes peeled though. I might do something on Sunday since I won't be here on Friday. But if I do, I'll post something in the group saying I'm gonna go live for that. I want to put, I'm going to use, thank you, I'm going to use E47. And I'm just going to do this very light like this is showing how this is hanging on the wall. And then I'm just going to build that edge one more time with this darkest color. And then I'm going to go in here and put this darkest color on the very inside of this frame. like that. And then I'm going to put a very, very, very light orange inside there to bring out the little octopus. So I think I'm going to use this YR61, and I'm just going to go in here and kind of put a little bit of color in here. Just around here. Don't want to touch that brown, or that's going to mess it up. And then I'm going to use my colorless blender to blend that out. Because I just wanted a little hint of the orange in there. I didn't want a whole lot of orange. Since we put purple in the wall, we could put a little bit of orange in here. This will soften it up. And just puts, it's hard to see on camera, but see, it just puts a little hint of orange in there. And there we go. On a date night. Yeah, we try to do date night sometimes. So there we go. Now we have them all done, and he has his floor and his background. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I wish I'd have made the frame a little bit bigger, but hey. Thank you. I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed that. I would love to see I would love for you guys to post when I post mine any that you practiced while we were live. If you want to post a little something too, so I can see what you were doing, because you get to see what I'm doing, but I can't see what you're doing. The tiles rocked. Yay! I'm so glad you guys enjoyed that. We'll do more. I won't be here tomorrow, but I will be back on Monday, if not Sunday. And I will see you guys then. And don't forget to join Jamie in the morning at 10 a.m. Central Time, or whatever your time zone is. She should be out of jail by then. And I'll see you there. So, thanks for joining me. Good night.